American bullets bounced off their helmets. Bombs turned their bunkers to dust. Yet none of it terrified Japanese soldiers quite like the flamethrower. In the dense jungles of the Pacific, where death often came silently, the roar of liquid fire turned hardened warriors into ghosts of fear. While many in the West viewed the flamethrower as just another weapon in the Allied arsenal, to the Japanese troops entrenched in island caves, it was something else entirely. It wasn't just the destruction it caused, but the psychological collapse it triggered. There was no honor in burning alive. No glory in screaming through melted skin. And the soldiers knew it. What made these men willing to charge tanks with swords, so deathly afraid of a tool that spewed fire instead of lead? The answer begins deep underground. As the U.S. pushed island by island across the Pacific, Japanese forces adopted a brutal defensive tactic: bury deep, dig tunnels, and never surrender. From Iwo Jima to Okinawa, they built fortress networks within mountains, hidden beneath layers of rock and reinforced concrete. Artillery barely scratched them. Air raids couldn't reach them. But when the flamethrowers arrived, they changed everything. A single operator, often just a few feet from the enemy's hiding place, could insert the nozzle into a small ventilation hole and unleash hell. Fire didn't just scorch the surface, it crawled. It crept. It filled every crevice, every oxygen pocket, and left nothing behind but blackened remains. And unlike bullets or bombs, there was no escape. The fire followed you. It burned the air itself. The Japanese Bushido code preached that death was better than dishonor. But flamethrowers introduced a death so horrifying, so undignified, that even the most loyal fighters cracked. Reports from Marines noted Japanese soldiers abandoning their posts the moment a flamethrower was spotted. Some fled. Others took their own lives before the flames could reach them. It wasn't about cowardice, it was about control. A bullet could kill instantly. A bomb could crush you in your sleep. But fire? Fire made you hear your skin pop and your lungs boil. And in the unforgiving heat of the Pacific sun, the fear of that death spread like wildfire. Stay locked in. The next part reveals how one terrifying mission with a single flamethrower broke an entire garrison without firing a shot. They called him Torchbearer. Private First Class Eli Mason, a quiet farm kid from Iowa, had no medals, no stripes, and no reputation until the day he walked alone into the cave systems of Palaliu. His M2 flamethrower strapped to his back like a demon's pack, Eli moved like smoke through the charred wreckage of the jungle. Intelligence said over 70. Japanese soldiers were hiding in that warren of stone and silence. Artillery had done nothing, grenades had done less. But Eli wasn't there to blast his way in. He was there to make them fear breathing. As he approached the first tunnel, his sergeant gave the signal, and then stepped back. No one followed. Eli in, no one needed to. The flame would do the talking. With one burst, the cave lit up like a furnace door had been flung open. The screech that echoed out didn't sound human. It was instinct tearing free from discipline. The kind of sound that made men 30 feet away flinch. Eli held the trigger for seconds, but in a confined cave that felt like eternity. The fire didn't just burn, it stole air, drowned sound, shattered nerves. Smoke poured out like a scream you could see. And then came something no one expected. Silence, not from death, but from surrender. From within the cave, a white cloth tied to a rifle barrel emerged, then another, then 10 more. Marines watched in stunned silence as nearly the entire garrison surrendered without a single bullet exchanged. Not because of the number of men outside, but because of the one man with fire. This wasn't the only time. Across the Pacific, stories echoed of similar scenes. Japanese troops surrendering not to battalions, not to tanks, but to a lone man with a hose and a flame. And what terrified them most wasn't death itself, it was the transformation that came before it. Fire changed the body. It erased faces, erased honor, erased identity. In their belief system, to die unrecognizable was to die unremembered. To face a flamethrower wasn't just to lose a fight, it was to vanish from history, from family, from the afterlife. That was the silent terror that made brave men drop their rifles. That was the true weapon behind the American flamethrower. If this blew your mind, imagine what happened when one Marine carried a broken flamethrower into a tunnel and still scared an entire squad into retreat. What he did next became legend. Want to know why? Keep watching.